I got
Are
up
we
to
live?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have
Oh,
been. I have been recording.
Oh,
I've been
okay.
testing it to make sure because yesterday me and Crit did talk for a good bit, but it wasn't recording properly, and it pretty much sounded like me just talking to myself for an entire hour and a half. But most of the time,
I
it was.
don't think you. I think you should still put that up on the channel. By the way.
It was nothing but 40. It was nothing but 40 minutes of me talking to myself about No Man's Sky, pretty much.
Oh, I did watch that.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. You're talking about just the regular rants that I had. That was
Oh.
maybe like 26 minutes long. No. No, I'm talking about like a full almost hour of us talking about how bullshit Sean Murray is. But anyway, I have survived combatants here and Mr. Crit. Mr. Crit, you can actually see him in some of my previous videos for Cancer Chronicles with Sven Co-op, and Survive Combatants has been on the show before. Both of you say hello.
With African
Hello, sir.
Jar Jar Binks. With African Jar Jar Binks, right?
Yeah.
So what's the first topic of the evening, my ladies?
No Man's Sky and Sean Murray. Begin.
All right.
You gotta stretch for this one.
I didn't buy the game.
I didn't buy the game.
I'm sorry, people, but I just didn't buy the game. One, I didn't have enough money, and two, I was sort of not interested in it. It looked like it was like Minecraft, but 3D, and you go to different planets. Like, my friend was telling me all about it, and I'm like, I don't know if I'll get it or not. Yeah, it seemed uninteresting to me. I don't know why.
Why would it be uninteresting to you? The possibilities are literally endless. There's different planets. It's endless. You can play forever. It's not a good game, but you can play forever. Isn't that a good game? It's worth the $60.
So is Minecraft, though.
But I don't know. Like I don't understand the hype built for the game. Like why this one game had to be built up to such a stature. When I first saw the game, I was like, a space traveling game. That's cool.
There was a lot of hype for it because it was treated like it was a AAA game when really it wasn't. And like I said, okay, when you have a developer who's an indie dev, get front stage and center for one of the three big hitters, part of the triad for E3, right? He's standing up on stage showing you his bull shot. And if you know what a bull shot is, it's pretty much just like a really glorified ad to make it look really good when really it isn't. He stands up there, plays his little bull shot, and he's like, oh yeah, there's going to be infinite possibilities, and all the planets will be different, and all the creatures will be different. I mean, yeah, it's going to generate hype, but as we all have seen, it's kind of a false promise there, or at least a half-truth. So...
Okay.
And you guys have to think about like all the troubles that that game had to go through, that pushed the release dates and everything. Cause I remember my buddy, he had the game pre-ordered, and this is actually a pretty funny story, but he had the game pre-ordered, and when he heard that when it got pushed back, he got angry but more hyped. And at the end of it. I believe it was the week before the game came out, and he mysteriously got $60 in his PlayStation account. So he bought Elder Scrolls Online. When he looked on his email, he found out why he had $60. It refunded his No Man's Sky.
Nice.
I'm like, how do you not notice that? You never just ask how the hell do you get like $60 out of nowhere? He's like, no. So yeah, but I was never hyped for it. I knew it was going to. I knew the expectation of the game was very, very high. So I knew it was going to, go all the way down. Nobody was going to like it. I mean, people do like it, but I mean, not as much as like the hype days.
Well, with me, I'm a huge fan of space sim games. Played Freelancer, Wing Commander.
Oh yeah.
The old games, TIE Fighter Simulator.
X3 is a good one too.
Yeah. These games where, and I saw this game and I was like, even I at the time. The thing is, I just saw it as a space sim for children, which it is, because it doesn't have any of that stuff that makes those other space sims special. You know, it's all it is going to planet, and it's so simple that you play with a controller, which I'm perfectly fine with that. You know, but the whole thing with Sean Murray and him straight up saying all these promises, and in such an early stage of the game too, when it was first announced, it baffles me how he didn't just straight up just tell people right off the bat, it's like, okay, this is exactly what the game is. This is what you should expect. Because there's no way that in your right mind, if you make a game and you make all these false promises, if it comes out and none of these promises are going to be in the game, that it's going to be good for you. Because people are going to just refund the fucking game. Hopefully.
Well, I feel like he was pretty much just caught in his lie, and he just kept rolling with it because he just kept expecting that those things were eventually going to be added into the game, and they weren't. So by the time that the game released, he's just like, yeah, that's going to be in the game too. And then they interview him, hey, how's multiplayer? Can you grief other people? Yeah. Yeah, and he begrudgingly says yes and stuff like that, even though he knows you can't actually do any of that shit, nor have they ever actually tested any of that.
Do you think it's because he was in the spotlight so much that it was that whole thing where he's so scared of what he might say?
Exactly. I think it's that. I don't think it's his ego or anything like that. He doesn't really seem like that big of an egotistical kind of guy. He just looks like he was kind of caught in his own lie, and he didn't really know how to get out of it.
A lot of people are painting him as the greedy Jew, but it's kind of like, well, I'm just saying, like on Reddit and all these, you know,
well,
like,
I mean,
everyone's making these gifts and these things, and they genuinely think that these people, like, to be honest, this guy made one game, which was Joe Danger. It's this poopy-looking 2D racing game, which did well. But the thing is, it wasn't Super Meat Boy money. It was it was like a little indie game that did more than well than the usual indie early access game on Steam.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I mean, I even see that game on sale all the time on my Vita. Like on the Vita store, I always see that game on sale. Because, I mean...
There's a reason for it.
Yeah, there's a reason for why it's always on sale.
But I mean...
Bargain bin.
But I mean... Like, the whole thing is, like, when I first saw those... Like, when I see a video game, especially a new one like No Man's Sky, I kind of like to do my background checks and see, like, well, I'm curious what they worked on before this. You know what I mean? Like, they're a very ambitious company. They must have worked on projects before that. And then I saw that, and I was like, no way is this game going to be what they promise.
Oh, yeah.
No way.
Absolutely no way. What I think pretty much what happened is this guy came up with this idea. He had like maybe a few code with a few other guys, and he presented his idea, and then it's just like, people like procedurally generated stuff. Let's keep pushing that. And eventually, like, just the whole idea got so inflated, and so many people just started overhyping it, adding their own imagination to what they can possibly do, and he never really got a chance to show off what the product is by itself. And so anytime that he was asked in interviews and stuff, can you do this and will you be able to do that? And he's just like, yeah, you're gonna be able to do that kind of stuff. He wasn't doing it for money. He hopes. I'm pretty sure he hopes that a lot of what people want in that game will eventually be in it. But there was no way you were going to do that with such a small team. There was no way you're going to do that with the budget that they had. I mean, No Man's...
On top of that, their studio flooded.
Yeah,
oh, it did?
Yeah, you didn't hear about that?
No, when?
It was like 2012, was it?
Oh, geez.
It was right around when they announced it.
Yeah. And they almost quit, too. After it flooded, they said they almost did it. But they only kept on doing it because it was announced. That was the only reason why they kept on going.
Oh, geez, if only a whole lot of other games did crap like that. Oh, well, it was announced. Time to keep going.
Well, that also makes you wonder, like, when that happened, maybe that stuff that he did promise was implemented in there, and they just didn't want to recode all that stuff again.
No, it takes a while to like mess with multiplayer and networking and stuff like that. I don't think they had any of that set in. They might have had like more textures and more artwork and things like that set in, but I think at most what they probably lost was maybe like some assets that could be added to the pool of procedurally generated Lego bricks. You know what I mean?
And on top of that, procedural generated is just a bad idea for video games in general.
Yeah, most of the time it is. It doesn't really work out as planned, and it's kind of just a false way of adding replayability because it takes away the challenge and the creativity that comes with just good level design, and instead just, hey, here's some building blocks, I'll let the engine put it together, whatever you get is what you get. So, you can really just kind of, I guess, water down the experience, because I'd rather have just a decently made medium-sized map compared to having quality or quantity over quality kind of thing, right? Cool, there's 15 billion planets, but all of them kind of look the same, work the same, a whole bunch of other kind of stuff. They're different colors. Some of them are a little bit hotter than the others. There's nothing really different here, guys, but when you like, let's say a lot of that focus was put onto like just one solid good planet, and like there's just tons of explored on one planet, you're set. You'll have hours and hours and hours of entertainment just by the map.
Yeah, it's sort of like Fallout 3, where people were still like finding stuff years after the game was released. Yeah.
But one of the things that man, what was I going to say? Well, the thing about procedurally generated, you get rid of that. Like when you get rid of, if you have Dark Souls and you just have this messy level designing, thing behind it, it loses its charm.
Right.
And it's like you'll see so much of the same assets in the same places. You see, it doesn't make the game feel special anymore. It's just like, so I'm in the same room as the one before that, just a different shade of blue. It really does kind of ruin, like, in my opinion. I think that only a handful of games handle procedurally generated content well, like Binding of Isaac and Gungeon, which, but Gungeon. Those are like Enter the Gungeon, but those are very simplistic 8-bit games where there's rules that can be set very easily. But when you have a planet that's like, you're bound to have issues. Things are gonna just like start growing in weird places, stalactites on the fucking ground. It's
one of these. I'm sorry, but one of these days it is gonna get better. But right now, it's nothing but a marketing tool. It's a marketing tool. That's it. It's a lazy marketing tool.
And it's a buzzword that a lot of people use. Mm-hmm. Our game is amazing. It has infinite possibilities. It's procedurally generated. The possibilities are endless. You can play the game forever.
Ecology, the ecology of the planet. That's another thing Sean Murray used a lot, was the word ecology, because it sounds like a smart buzzword. The ecology of the planet will be so much different and blah, blah, blah. No, dude, when you go there, it tells you if it's more toxic and you got to collect a different resource. You go to another planet, it might be too hot. Collect a different resource to make sure that you're not going to die. That's it. There's no ecology. The animals aren't running around feeding on each other. In fact, I was actually just playing the new updated version of it earlier, because apparently it's a totally different experience from what Sean Murray says. And it's the same thing, except some frame rate issues have maybe been taken out. And I saw like a pack of wolves walk right past, some deer, and they didn't do anything. I'm like, oh, okay. This is going to be one of those games. I got you. They're not ecology, though.
Well, here's the thing about No Man's Sky to begin with. When it's procedurally generated and all that stuff, and you see those trailers and all that shit, at the time, like the giant snake and all that stuff, and all those like weird, ginormous, special creatures that were breaking down the trees, has any of that stuff really been shown in the actual game now?
No.
It's just all these shitty-looking tauntauns walking around. That's what they are, shitty tauntauns walking around. just like dying, and the game looks like shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so amazing. Like, I don't know. And even back then, I kind of knew that if it's all procedurally generated, then most of the shit won't ever happen to me. Knowing my luck, I'm gonna get the planet that's full of like, rabbits with ginormous elephant heads. I'm not gonna get the giant snake level that's in the desert. That looks cool. The thing is, if the game was handmade...
Hold on one second. I actually got to go get a pizza out the oven because, I'm just so rich I can buy DiGiorno, right?
Oh, yeah.
That YouTube money.
You're gonna eat it by your pool.
Oh, yeah.
White cis male. Oh, is that triggered you? You white cis male.
Trigger me timbers.
I rate this 10 triggers.
A few moments later.
All right, I'm back. My bad. Okay. All right, so what? Well, no.
You're gonna edit some stuff.
Yeah, you're gonna have to edit some stuff out.
Oh, great, fantastic. Thank you.
He made me say it.
What? He made you say the N-word or something?
No.
I was getting pizza, to be fair.
Oh, we're getting pizza. Is that gonna stay in?
I don't know. I'm eating pizza.
So the last thing about Sean Murray, he's a con man.
All right, yeah. Final note on that: Sean Murray is a con man. Don't buy No Man's Sky. It's a garbage game, and if you actually buy into it, even after knowing all the information that you do now, you should be ashamed of yourself, and you deserve to not have $60.
And also, if another little thing, this triggers me. Okay, and I mean really does trigger me. When you go into the review section and there's tons of people saying the game crashes, and you're the one person that it doesn't crash for, and you write in, I don't understand these other people. My game works fine. 10 out of 10.
I'll email you the fix. Smiley
kill
face.
Yourself. Like, kill yourself. You contribute nothing in society. Who cares if your game works? It's a piece of shit. Don't you hate that? That's
of course, dude. You know how many times I've had PC problems or something like that, and I've had to like look it up? Hell, any problem at all for anything, and all of a sudden it's like a 5-year-old thread that's already been closed. You can't respond to it. And
Bob, don't you hate it when you look up a problem and then you type it into Google, and then there's this forum post, right? And it's like the first thing is like, oh, okay, it's him saying he has the problem. Second post, he figured it out. Closes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I figured it out. Okay. Yeah, like no problem. Thread closed.
How did you?
Never mind. I figured it out. Close thread. Why don't you just tell him? You son of a bitch.
Oh yeah. Actually, I figured it out. This is how I did it. Okay, thanks, man. That might work. I figured it out. Smiley face. Thread closed.
Like, he doesn't say like, oh, or it's always like, man. But those are the two things in real life that trigger me. Okay, Bob, what triggers you nowadays in video games?
Console people. That's about it.
It's more
Sorry.
People like survived combatants who buy Vitas.
Hey. Okay, if I could play Resident Evil on the go, I will. I would, and that's why I bought it, is because I could play Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, Dino Crisis 1 and 2.
Alright, I get it. Alright, consoles are simple. They're you pay some money, you plug it up to your TV, you play some video games and stuff like that. But don't...
Oh, I'm thinking about getting a PC.
Okay, maybe it's not consoles in general. Let me take that back. It's not consoles in general because they are for a specific market, okay? And that's understandable. Yeah. It's the it's the elitism that comes along with being a console owner. And it's like, dude, all right, I get that PC people can be pretty elite. I'm sometimes like that myself, but you can't stand there and tell me that this console that's running a game at 30 FPS with stretched out on your TV screen that's 50 inch, and it looks all kind of blurry, jaggy, and stuff like that. just plays better than someone who has like a 4K game running at 60 frames per second on, a mouse and keyboard, and it just happens to be a first-person shooter. And, like, you're gonna lose every time in that argument.
And Bob, you can't play the Gears of War and the Halos and the Uncharted's and.
Yeah, I can't play Nier Automata, even though that's coming out on PC. I can't play a lot of these games that are coming out on PC. Hell, I can't play any Xbox games that are coming to PC. Oh, wait. Didn't Aaron Greenberg from Microsoft recently say yesterday that Xbox games, the future of Xbox looks like PC gaming? Microsoft's head of Xbox games marketing said that? I wonder why. Could it be because consoles are garbage?
Oh, you're great at segueing to the next topic.
I am. Thank you.
Man, dude.
Let's talk about the death of consoles.
Hey, whoa. Okay, first of all, my 2 cents. I love consoles, but, I'd rather have a PC. It's just that, I'm trying to save up for a PC, which my friend had for around $550, which it'll go cheaper in Christmas. So it might be $500 when Christmas time.
Okay.
Here's the thing about PC right now. We're at a turning point where we're making constantly new advancements, and eventually these video cards are going to be cheaper and cheaper to make.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of consoles existing in 10, 20 years is like baffling, because I don't think it will.
Because by the time that console's being made, I mean, within the next, 1-2 years, something way stronger is already going to be out. And consoles are just going to be like these really cheap packages that pretty much people are going to use as paperweights, because there's going to be stuff that's leagues better right out the gate. Do you really think any of these consoles that are out right now are really going to take advantage of what VR is going to bring up? No. Because eventually if VR is going to get better and PCs are going to get better, the hardware demand is going to get higher, and console is going to be left behind, because a lot of these hardware developers like Microsoft and Sony, they want to make their consoles last like 10 years. You know how much shit could change in 10 years for video games? You know how much crap can come out? No, your console's not going to last that long. It may have lasted that long for PlayStation 2, but that's because like that was already like at the top. You know what I mean? Like at that time, it was kind of top hardware, and now it's just no. It's just going to
Bob, the Nintendo system has a touchpad.
The amazing irony of all of that is that they were trying to get away from touchpads and controllers, right? Yeah. Like they're like, look, guys, you can wiggle and waggle and jab at things and stuff like that using the nunchuck and stuff. Like, it's like you're closer into the game, and I bought into that hype. In fact, so when the Wii first came out, I was one of the first people that actually stood in line in front of a Circuit City for one of those things. I was actually first in line for it for when the Wii got out, because I thought, like, I bought into this hype. Like, despite all the hype and stuff like that I've talked about, I'm saying this from learned experience. I've fallen for hype before. Never again, right? I fell for the Wii hype, and I was disappointed as all hell. I could just sit on my ass and just fucking wiggle the controller and stuff, and it's like, oh wow, I'm really in the game now. Like, oh yeah, and it was terrible. The Wii didn't even last that long. Besides for the casual people that wanted some party games and Just Dance and karaoke and Mario Party.
Yeah, now see, no, I'm
gonna play devil's advocate here and defend the Wii, just for a second. Okay,
all right.
Because I did play good games on there. I'm not going to say that.
There are some good games, but those games aren't the things that actually made the Wii last. If it was up to those games to make the Wii last as long as the Wii did, it wouldn't have sold as many. The only reason why the Wii sold so much is because kids and casual games. If you relied on games like, I don't know, what was it, Conduit and a whole bunch of other kind of stuff like that, the Wii would have fallen flat within the first 2 years. But thanks to casual markets and kids wanting it for, whatever crazy racing game, Sonic game, or whatever was coming out for Christmas, there was no way the Wii was going to last. No way.
Yeah, and the only The only games I had on Wii was, let's see, Super Smash Bros. Because, as you guys know, I'm very big into fighting games. The classic Ninja Turtles NES game and Resident Evil 4, which I actually lost that, and I'm pretty pissed about that. That's the only 3 games I had, and I didn't play it that much.
Well, at least you didn't spend a whole lot of money on the console. I'll give you that. I mean, it was at most $250 when it came out.
Holy Jesus, man!
What, the Wii?
Yeah. One of the things that oh man, what was I gonna say? It was about Nintendo.
The Wii U, I believe it was.
The Wii U, yeah. I will say this: the Wii U is a utter piece of garbage, except for the games that Nintendo releases. But they're a good company that makes good games. I think that they need to get out of the fucking console business, because if they hit, the thing is, a lot of people. You know, I talked to an Australian friend of mine, and he talks about how Nintendo has so much money that they can fail like 5 times and still have enough money to fail 5 more times. And I said, well, here's the thing. You're damaging your name and your company if you do that. That's why I say, like, if Nintendo has 2 flops after the NX, I'm talking about 3 altogether, 3 flops, I think they're done.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, true.
That's
maybe
why.
2.
What was it? Last year they said that they wanted to try and get into the mobile market and stuff like that. That's why. They just,
Konami.
I don't even. Listen, Konami's not trying to get into the mobile market as much as they are trying to get into the whole just gambling and slot machines and pachinko and shit like that. I mean,
we'll get back to Konami.
We'll get back
later.
to them. We'll get back to them later, because actually that is on the list that we're using right now. But Nintendo isn't going to fail immediately. But their NX, when that system comes out, if it does not push some kind of bar, or if it's just some glorified version of a Wii U, they sucked. They have failed. Their company will not sell any consoles. It won't. It won't push anything. It's not going to be bleeding edge. Usually what you want from Nintendo is something new and interesting, and then everyone else tries to parrot it. You know what I mean? Like with the motion controls and stuff like that. Like all of a sudden, Microsoft's with the Kinect, and they're like, "Oh, look, guys, we have our own version of motion control and everything else." Nintendo needs to come out with something more than just another touchpad with some motion sensing in it. That's the only way that they're going to survive, and I don't think they have what it takes. They've lost it.
The thing I'm very surprised about the NX is that I thought it was going to be a VR system. It's not. And that was one thing I was very surprised about, because that seems straight up out of Miyamoto's, weird head. He's like, yo, waggle.
A rigor irrago.
Nintendo's a smart company, and I have to say this: fire fucking Miyamoto or retire him. He just needs to be gone from the company, because he ruins a lot of like potentially good ideas, like the Star Fox game. Like Star Fox is a prime example of him chiming in. We need to use the controller, the big giant controller, and all that stuff. He is into gimmicks. Miyamoto is. He wants everyone to have the weird gimmick. I don't know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't think
it needs to be more than a gimmick, like a touch screen. People have had touch screens for over a decade now. All right, or just pretty much anything. We're tired of touch screens. If you're going to implement touch screens, do it in a light way. Don't just make your controller a giant touch screen. All right? There's only so much you can do with that anyway. Make it an interactive map, and maybe for some mini games. Like you can't do a whole lot with that. You just can't. The touch screen is actually very limited.
I will say I would like to play Magica on the Wii U.
Oh.
That's a good example of that game being on there. But here's the thing, that game isn't on there, and there's no reason for me to play the Wii U.
Yeah, the only reason why I would play the Wii U is Splatoon.
I knew it! I knew this dude was going to say Splatoon.
Dad, why?
I knew you were going to say it. I knew you were going to say it. Look, all right, the Splatoon hype should have died a time ago, all right?
It looks interesting to me.
I get that it is a third-person shooter with some light new mechanics added into it, but that is not enough of a reason to buy a Wii U. It's just not.
And Pokken Tournament and Smash, which I really need to get into again.
Yes, Britt. You were saying Bob earlier. Yes. How can I help you?
But I was gonna say is that okay. Well, I was gonna say like don't trash a new idea. Splatoon is a new idea, and I admire that new idea.
I don't mind the IP, but I'm just saying, like, I've had conversations with people where they just want to buy a Wii U because of Splatoon, and I'm like, dude,
yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
Crazy.
No. I would have to at
absolutely
least have
nuts.
10 games for me to
Bob,
buy.
Bob, you're gonna hate me. I bought a Wii U. You know what game I bought it for? And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say it forever. It was worth it. It was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Bayonetta 2. It was worth it. It was worth it. It was worth it. I'm not gonna ever regret it, Bob.
Okay, maybe it is just me, but it doesn't sound like common sense to me where you would just buy a console for one game. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. Like if
the thing is, I totally know where you're coming from.
Yeah, me too.
But I love that game. I love that game.
All right, if you were to give me like a list of like what was it, Hero 100 or something like that too?
Mario Kart. I got that.
You know, like if you actually gave me like at least 5 games that you were really excited for to get on the Wii U, I'd be like, awesome. You go buy yourself a Wii U. You enjoy that shit. Like those sound like good video games.
Here's the thing, and I'll explain why I like Nintendo more than every other console contender out there. The exclusives are way better. That's the only thing. It's like, okay, let's see the exclusives for Sony. What do they have? They have Uncharted, which is just an interactive third-person movie. We have what else?
God of War.
God of War.
Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank. Used to be Crash Bandicoot.
keep pushing. Little Big Planet.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking here. Twisted Metal. That's one.
But the thing is, those games don't get any, like, a lot of those games that you mentioned aren't going to get sequels anytime soon. Like, Twisted Metal, it flopped. Their last one flopped horribly.
Sadly.
Yeah.
I want Road Rash to come up again. That was a very awesome game.
Road Rash I played on the Sega Genesis. I really like. But the thing I have to say is that Nintendo is... If Nintendo fails and releases all their games on PC, they would get a crap ton of money. Because the thing is, Nintendo owns some of the most iconic IPs, some of the best games out there. Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, Zelda Wind Waker, Majora's Mask, the list, they have Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 1 now. They have, Mario Kart, I'm not going to say Mario Party. I almost said Mario Party. Mario Tennis, Mario Strike.
How many Mario games do they have for the Wii? Holy Jesus! How many times are you going to re-release the same?
I don't know.
game?
How many times do you feel like you could beat a dead horse?
True. True.
Okay, Bob, you're being a little harsh, but okay, are you gonna say Wind Waker is an original idea on the IP?
I played Wind Waker. I beat it. I don't know. I didn't really see so much in it
compared to the other IPs in that genre. It was a
compared to the other IPs. It was definitely one of the better ones. How's that?
Majora's Mask is still the best one.
Yeah.
And if anyone that listens to this podcast disagrees, well, you're open to your opinion.
Don't forget to leave an unlike and don't forget to leave an unlike and unsubscribe because you disagree with someone's opinion. Yeah.
Don't forget, guys.
I didn't say that.
If you don't think Majora's Mask is the best game, Mr. Crit will get triggered.
Oh, get triggered, yeah. I'll call you a heartless whore. But no. Like, I have to admire that Nintendo has been holding on to these IPs, and I do think it's a smart decision to do what they've been doing up to this point, where I do think that they need to branch off and leave consoles. I think the logical step for most of these people, Sony included and Microsoft, they need to get the fuck off of the console platform because anyone and their mother can buy a fucking computer for cheap. Mm-hmm. It's getting to the point where it's going to get even cheaper it's gonna get crazy cheaper later down the line. How they're making video cards now.
Oh yeah,
you know,
they have some video cards out there that are maybe $500, and they're just as good as your console in general.
I'm talking about like how they're manufacturing video cards now. We're gonna start getting 1080s for 200.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I
We're gonna like seriously. If anyone here, listening is a console user, I'm not gonna bash you or anything. I grew up as a console person or whatever. But now is a point in which you need to move to PC because you're gonna be left in the fucking dust. It is eventually you're gonna start seeing drops. I mean, like Microsoft's already like losing. They're losing so hard because they have nothing. Yeah. They have nothing to. What they're gonna try to sell you with the same 2 games and this new pirate game that looks, you know, like what did Microsoft show? Like they showed two of the same
Scalebound
and Crackdown, I believe.
Remember Project Sparkle?
Dude, even Sony is scared because if you remember, Sony actually said that their next console was going to beat PC, which is we all know is a fucking dropped out lie. That is an outright lie.
Unless you're making a new OS for PC.
Well, they had to make a whole new OS for PlayStation 4, which is why nothing was backwards compatible. The fucking morons. Like, guys, let's make a whole new console, right? Let's make a whole new console and totally just use a completely different OS, and then you'll never be able to use any of the PlayStation 3 games until we fix it. Come on.
Yeah, that pissed me off so much.
But I understand the appeal of consoles. It is that easy plug-in thing. But we're at a point where you can plug in a fucking laptop into your big television and play, and like these people like saying like you can't have that couch experience. Bullshit.
Absolutely.
You can have that couch experience easily.
You hook up your computer to your TV. You get a wireless controller that's like USB or something like that. You plug it in. You start up your game. Ta-da! Look, you got that couch experience.
And if you like wires, like I do, you can get an extension USB plug-in, and you can play on the couch like that. That's what I do. I bring my computer over into the living room and have my friends that like playing Street Fighter, and we have the extension USBs, and we play with our fighting sticks there. You know, arcade sticks or whatever.
I need to get an arcade stick.
You need to first stop playing Smash.
Ooh. I'm not playing Smash. I'm playing Mortal Kombat Killer Instinct.
Yeah, don't you see his name? Survive Combatants. Yeah. Don't you see that?
Come on, man.
Who's that? that yellow guy? Isn't that Pac-Man? That's his icon, something like that.
I don't see his
Yellow Sub-Zero.
Yeah, Yellow Sub-Zero.
I haven't played Killer Instinct. Is it worth it?
It's that, and I'm not going to say Halo because I despise Halo, except for Combat Evolved 2 and 3. I like the trilogy.
Well, I can play on PC. I can play Killer Instinct on PC. Is it worth it?
I say yes because, you know, I mean, it's a different experience. It's not like any other fighting games. I mean, you have, like, basically what if Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat
a different topic into fighting games.
Yeah, I know. but it's like if Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter crossed together. You have these, like, way over-the-top stereotypical characters, and then you have the brutality basically and all the blood and stuff of Mortal Kombat, not the gore, but you have the blood of it and these cool ultra finishers.
One of the things I wanted to ask was it doesn't have the simplistic inputs as Mortal Kombat, does it? Because I hate simplistic
it's really easy to get into, but hard to master. It's one of those fighting games.
I'm talking about, like, you know how Mortal Kombat has the left, forward?
Yeah, it has that. Like the forward dash and the back dash. They have it on Windows 10, which my PC can't run it because it's dirt and shit.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saving it up.
I'm more of a Street Fighter fan where the the inputs are, like, down, forward. And, they do...
Oh, the moves, it's exactly like that. Or you can have I believe they have a easy mode, and then they have like one of the hard modes where you actually have to do like all the controls. But yeah, they have the simplistic controls, which I really, really do very much like. And they even have combo assist disabled or enabled. It's a really fun game, and if you want the best experience, I would play it on the PC.
No, we got to get back to the discussion.
Yeah.
The death of consoles.
The death of consoles.
We were talking about laptops and the whole idea that you can plug it in your living room and watch television or play a video game. I do it on a regular basis. So this excuse that people say, oh, you can't do this, you can do anything with a PC. The sky's the limits, and it's not that fucking hard.
Absolutely.
If my best friend can do it, you can do it too.
Oh yeah.
Just let you know, my friend, he's not tech savvy. He says a bunch of shit that makes me go question reality sometimes. I'm like, are you gonna fucking go insane and start snorting bath salts?
All right. Do you guys know who Terry Crews is? Terry Crews is that big buff black guy that was from like the most famously known now for the Red Spice commercials.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, that's who Terry Crews is. He even built his own PC. He ordered his own parts, learned how to put it together himself, and put together his own PC because he knows that his son was into computer games, so he kind of wanted to do something that, could do like a father-son kind of thing. So he taught himself and bought all of his own parts and put together his own rig, and even has like a video of him putting it together as he got parts in and talking about it and stuff like that. If that big buff dude, who you would never think can put together a PC, can put it together, you're an idiot if you can't put it together, or at least you're not computer lit enough. You haven't done enough research. It's easy. There are so many tutorials online. There are so many. I didn't even watch YouTube or anything to learn how to put together. Growing up, I had to figure it out, take it apart, do my own thing. I learned piece by piece. I had to take apart my computer, and I'm just like, all right, well, what do I do with a new video card? And I'm like, okay, well, it goes in that spot. Here, I'll take out the old one, put it in. And then you kind of get a little bit more experience. You get a little bit more braver. And now I'm using a rig that doesn't even have its own brand. I built this thing part by part.
But I want to say this: if any of you console people are feeling intimidated by us by waving our PC Master Race cogs, I fucked up on that. PC Master Race cogs around and saying that we're awesome. We're not trying to be that way. We're trying to just tell you that you deserve better. You should switch to PC because everyone wins at the end. Like, that's the whole thing, right? Is that PC at the end, like, these consoles, you're spending so much money on them, and people will say, no, really, you're, whatever. If your Xbox breaks down, you have to buy another one. Or if your warranty is broken, you have to buy another one. And that shit adds up. You can buy a very cheap computer and, like, slowly upgrade it through time. You don't have to get top of the line. You don't gotta get a 1080 or crazy GPUs, and all. You don't have to get. You don't have to get a crazy 4K resolution monitor with 144 hertz. You don't need to get that.
Exactly. And we want you to have the same experience that we're having. We notice, like, we see these things, like when we look at people playing console games and are getting like 30 frames per second, and you know that you can play that same game on a computer and get double that. And it's important to your eyes. It's important to how you're playing, especially if it's a game that uses a lot of reflexes. We wonder why some people are just perfectly content with that. And yes, there's a market for it, but we want you guys to understand that PC is the next step. Like, it's been around for a while, but right now it's gaining that momentum. It's like that slow building up train. There was a little bit of coal in it, and now you might as well just shove the whole damn thing in there. It's going.
It's quite literally the evolution of how we live as a society. First we had the big giant phones, and then eventually we have a phone that can fit in your pocket. It's just
right.
We've had at this point, it's been, it makes sense to have these consoles up to this point. This point, well, there's literally no reason for it because we're making such huge advancements in technology. And the idea of building a console and it's kind of like a giant waste of time, especially this new one that I think Microsoft's working on. I think that they're going to try to like put as much tech as possible in it, and it's going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Right. Not to mention with the growing market and stuff like that, and how much money that they would plan on making back with how much advertising and everything else that they would put behind it, it's probably just going to be another 550 paperweight.
And if this fucking flops, I mean, unless it's somehow going to be a computer, do you think it's going to be a computer?
All of them are essentially computers. I mean,
no. I'm talking about the Scorpio. Do you think it's going to be an actual computer?
You mean like the Steam machines? Because those were a big flop and mistake.
No. I'm just saying, like, if it, like, they can extend their revenue if it is a PC, and that's how they, advertise it to the actual.
They're gonna lose money if they try and do that.
I know, but I'm just saying, it could possibly be that, but I don't know. But you're gonna be spending crazy amount of money on something that could fail. I don't know. Someone sent me a message.
Yeah, Bob sent me a picture. What is it?
Where is it?
Oh.
You guys have never seen that picture before?
Nope.
Yeah, that was when the Xbox One was first being introduced, and those are the display ones at E3. They crashed and they went to Windows desktops because they're just computers. That's all they are is boxed in computers they won't allow you to tamper with. Why even pay for that?
And also, Microsoft being the people that they are, they want to corner a certain market. They want you to pay for their shit and all that stuff. On PC, it's an open market where you could buy stuff from Steam, but if you don't like Steam, you can go to GOG. If you don't like GOG, you can go to Green Man Gaming. You can go anywhere of these different places. If you had a bad experience with one, there's more than likely another one that you can choose.
Right. Somebody is bound to have a video game for cheap. You don't have to settle for that $59.99 price tag. Thanks to the miracle of how fast the internet is now, you can pretty much get any video game you want at a discount price, even if it's brand spanking new that same day.
And here's the thing. Microsoft controlling the market for their stores and stuff. You can say that you have the same sales as us, but I've seen the comparisons where I'm paying $10 for something, and I go and I watch this, image side by side on PC Master Race subreddit. I know I'm on a faggot that goes on Reddit, but that's this. You see these images comparing the store prices, and it's like really depressing because it's like they're screwing you. They're making you pay more for a digital copy of some of these things. It's just ridiculous. And also, Microsoft's against free DLC. That's another thing about them, that they're very adamant about Left 4 Dead 2. I want to get back to this was the first thing that made me think that I had to get off of Xbox 360. Because I was playing Xbox 360 with my friends, and I had a PC at the time, and I was playing Left 4 Dead 2 on there as well, and I got all the maps for free, and I didn't get them for free on the console, and it turns out that Microsoft straight up told them that they don't want you to do that, and it's because they're afraid that more people will follow in suit. The thing is, they get a percentage of the money spent on DLC. It's kind of really, they're not out to get you the best experience. They just want your fucking money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I actually
they're willing to screw you over to get what they want. say what you will about Valve and what they're doing nowadays and all that stuff, but at least they allow the people that are making the games to do what they want with their games. They're not, you make there's free games on Steam. There's free games, there's free DLC, there's free all kinds of stuff all over. And I'm glad that Valve hasn't tried to, choke out that and go no, we need money, because they get a percentage of the money as well.
Oh yeah, well they're making enough money just from CS:GO alone and all their shitty little boxes and stuff like that they could sell crazy.
CS Lotto.
Yeah.
And the scam that is. But speaking of I guess making money, it's almost like Valve doesn't want to appease to their original fan base anymore. You think there at least be some kind of news about Half-Life 3. I know this has been discussed up and down with tons of other YouTubers and all this other kind of stuff, but it's
I already have the speculation on that. I've talked about that on the
I don't think they care anymore. Yeah, I don't think they care anymore.
I have a speculation that we are going to get something Valve related, but it's going to be VR. And it's not going to be Half-Life 3. It's going to be J.J. Abrams directed. Because the thing is, it's, J.J. Abrams owns a video game company, and they haven't done very much. I don't think they have. I think they made one game, which was a teaser. Look it up. It's that Bad Robot, I think. They made a teaser for Super 8, I think. I could be executed for getting my shit wrong, but...
Yeah, I can't see anything. I can't find anything. Yeah, it's Star Trek Bridge Crew.
Mm.
That's VR.
Or is it? Yeah. They're doing the Bridge Crew game. Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, the Star Trek Bridge Crew.
So they're already tampering with VR right now. And we already know that Valve and J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot have been in the works. And also, I think Bad Robot also helped work on a new game mode for Team Fortress 2. And one of the things I speculated, and if it happens, I'm at that point where I don't care about Half-Life. I've moved on.
It's the same for me, man. I'm looking forward to a whole lot of other games that are coming out, like Space Hulk, Deathwing, and stuff like that. But right now, it's if they were to announce it, I'm not even going to be hyped for it anymore, because my original love for the series, it's still going to be there. But come on, you waited so long.
Yeah.
You waited so long.
What has it been? 10 years?
More than that.
More than that, yeah.
Yeah, but if it does get released, I'll be like, okay, I'm excited a little bit. I'll be like, I'll play it. Right. I'll play it when it comes out, but I'm not going to be like when Half-Life 2 was announced.
What if it uses de novo?
I don't know. But I do believe that we're going to get something Valve related with VR, because we still haven't had that one experience with VR where we need to get it.
Right, and they did experiment a little bit with it with the Oculus and stuff like that with that Portal game, that free to download Portal thing that they had. So
the Lab Rat, I think it's called.
Yeah, they messed around with that, so who knows?
Well, one of the things with VR, we're going to segue out of the way, I guess. So we're going to talk about VR now. But I did some research last night, and it was about VR. I was like, you said you wanted to talk about VR. I looked up. These games are extremely horribly priced. Horribly priced for how little content you get out of them.
Yeah.
I saw only one game I was interested in. It was Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah,
that's the only game that.
Wait, what? Tabletop Simulator.
Tabletop Simulator is pretty much a virtual, I guess, board game where you can pretty much simulate any board game that's ever been made, including card games and stuff like that. So you have some people that are outright playing like Tabletop 40K, Dungeons and Dragons, Backgammon, a whole bunch of other kind of stuff. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can almost play every single board game ever on it, and you don't really have to.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
That one I can see, but
Candyland. Yeah.
Yeah, Candyland. Why not?
The thing is, with VR, you have to have an experience that you can not have sitting down on a keyboard and mouse. You know?
Right.
Something that you can't sit in a movie theater. Let's say that. You can't sit in a movie theater. So that's another one. Where you have a VR headset and watch Fury Road on the big screen. You know? You can do that or play tabletop with... I can play with tabletop with anyone, like from my friends from Canada. Like, that's fun. That's a cool idea. I can shoot fucking arrows and shoot guns sitting on my desk, and I don't need a wiggle Wii remote. You know? I don't. Like, I don't want to be playing a shooting range game.
Right.
Where I'm sitting there shooting at a target that does nothing. And a lot of these VR games are $40 to $30, and they're selling you the same experience that everyone else in this indie market is doing. A bow game. Oh, haven't seen one of those before. I mean, just to let you know, Lab Rats, the free Valve game, comes with a bow game. So it's like, how many more bow games are there? There's like 50. There's 50 or
and they want to charge like $20 a piece for them too, and it's like, come on, it's a shooting gallery. That's all it is. The same thing goes for like anything else that's not a bow game. You're standing there and you're trying to throw something or you're trying to shoot something, and that's it. I think the major problem with this VR wave that we have right now is that there's no other way to move around other than just pointing where you want to go, or possibly using a controller or a WASD or something like that. It's just, somebody's going to think of something eventually, but right now VR is not really a market that you should really get invested in unless you just want to pay attention to YouTubers scream and shout at stupid stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think it's a good idea for horror games. You know, we talk about how the death of horror games and all that stuff, but
oh God, that saddens me.
We're gonna talk about the death of horror games after the VR discussion.
Oh,
but,
dude, I have a lot to say about that.
But one of the things about VR is that there's two good experiences I really would like to see from it: turn-based games and RTSs. And which we haven't seen that much of that type of, like, people are still thinking, like, eventually someone's going to figure it out. Someone's going to figure out, like, oh, I can do more than just sit in a room and point to things, you know what I mean? I can do more than just Job Simulator. You know, this whole thing where we're having these games, just let you know, Job Simulator, save your fucking money. Save your fucking money, people.
Right.
I'm not gonna be angry at any of you if you want to play that game and like, oh, it's fun for children. You know what? I changed my mind. It's good for children. But if you're 30 years old and you're buying Job Simulator for a good game, you're stupid. It's a game that literally you cannot lose. You're playing, you know, for a child, it's perfect.
And not to mention everything that you've ever thought about doing in that game, someone has absolutely already done 50 times over, thanks to the miracle of just being able to throw things around. So if you thought about picking up that bottle of mustard or whatever, and you're supposed to be making a hamburger, and you just throw it at the customer, guess what? 20 other people have already recorded themselves doing that on YouTube.
I would love, you know what? And another good thing that they could do with VR, which I haven't seen, is simulators. You can have, like, except for having Job Simulator, why can't we have a actual mechanical...
actually, EVE Online's doing that with EVE Valkyrie.
But I mean, a mechanic simulator, though. Like a mechanic...
like actually learning stuff from it? No, you can't learn things from video games.
Yeah, that's just outrageous.
You can't learn things.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Or
I mean, sure, of course it'd be awesome. Actually having a surgeon simulator game that actually like lets you learn stuff and it's not some $20 YouTube bait stuff, sure. Absolutely.
Oh, do an autopsy on a fucking alien in 0G? Oh.
Yeah.
I'm talking shit to a game that I actually like. I actually do like, you know, Surgeon Simulator. But... The thing is, like, these goofy games where, like, it's not reaching the potential of what the actual hardware has. It has a lot of potential, especially right now. I mean, like the stuff that we're saying right now can be done, but no one has figured out that you can do it. No one with talent, at least. Eventually, it will happen. Some guy will be like, "Oh, I can make an actual simulator of being a mechanic here and make people learn how to fix their car and not have to, go to the actual mechanic and get your ass raped, for spending a ridiculous amount of money." Like, that's amazing. The idea that could happen.
Hell, you could even have a 3D simulator teaching people how to put together computers. And it wouldn't seem so scary. Now would it?
And here's the thing also about it is that you can have a VR experience where you're not necessarily playing a game. You can be sitting in a classroom learning a new language, or like you actually can be learning from this actual hardware.
Mm-hmm.
The potential of that is amazing. Like, but people are still they think it's a gimmick. The thing is, they think VR is a gimmick, and the thing is, VR has potential to be something even more. You can literally have Conan O'Brien, a VR experience Conan O'Brien television show, where you're sitting in the audience and you just spent $5 for that experience, for that one show.
Oh yeah,
right?
that's actually not a bad idea at all. Hey, anybody who's listening that actually has money and connections, you heard it here first, folks. You can actually be in a virtual audience for something. Wow.
The thing is, the potential of this actual technology. The thing is, people like we're saying like, it might seem like we're bashing it at first, but the thing is, the potential of this is limitless for what they can do with it. Like the thing is, but what they're doing, I'm using the word limitless, and I feel like a shithead, but. Like Sean Murr, or his name is it Sean?
Yeah, Sean Murray. Yeah,
Sean Murray.
It's limitless.
But the thing, but I truly do mean that when I say it. Like the idea that you can be placed in a different place, like when you put this headset on, is amazing. But right now we're at this point where we're making bow games and shooting games. I'm looking at him like, oh my god, if I was tech savvy, I'd be raking in the money right now. Because I'd be doing shit that no one's doing. No one's making an RTS. No one's making simulators, except for Tabletop Simulator. But the potential of this is amazing. And the hardware can do a lot in the future. And I think we're going to get that, not this year, not the year after it, but I think soon. I think very soon we're going to start getting shit that we want. Like me and Bob right now, and we're like at this point not worth it. But I feel later down the line that we're gonna be like, holy shit, do you see that fucking game? I think, and I'm not, and I might be, tooting my own horn, but I do think there is potential.
Oh yeah, one of these days there's gonna be a really like awesome MMO with a VR headset, and everyone's weeaboo VR anime fantasies are gonna come true. And they're gonna be able to swing their sword in an MMO and all that other kind of stuff. But until that day comes, I'm not really gonna want VR.
Don't forget the
porn simulator. I bet someone has made that.
Oh, of course, dude. There's already tons. I think Pornhub had their own version of it and a whole bunch of other kind of stuff. I mean, oh man, VR is the next thing for all of that. And of course, that's probably going to be the industry that pushes that kind of tech anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's strange how much money that industry still makes despite everyone still just looking at it for free. Yeah. It doesn't make sense to me where they're getting all this money. But hey,
well, here's the thing. VR is a way to make people pay for it now.
That is true.
That's the thing. It's like, the thing is, VR is creating jobs in the future for the porn industry. It's true, though. I mean, like, there's gonna have. I've already seen these videos. I did my research on the porn industry on VR.
Oh, your research.
Researched.
With some lotion and some tissue papers, but jokes aside, there are these porn videos where you're in the point of view of these people. Like, they have an actor that is playing someone that's you with some GoPro on his head or whatever, and he's fucking whores. But that's like something that's going to happen in the future, is that we're going to start seeing more of that also in the porn industry, and it's going to make them have more money. And I'm probably going to guess that the porn industry isn't going to die. You know, it's probably going to get a big boom because of VR. That's just me speculating on that front, but that's like, if you can like, you can watch a porno video, or you could actually be in the porno video. You know, do you know there's people that want to do that?
Well, yeah, there's already a market for that. Trust me, Japan is actually really on top of that because they already have peripherals and stuff like that have like touch sensing
But I'm talking
and a
about
whole
real
bunch of other
actors,
kind of
though.
stuff.
I mean, like, there's actual videos with real actors in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a 3D model or anything. They literally.
Well, yeah, but that's more like just watching a movie and being attached to a headset.
Still,
I mean, I don't know. I'm talking about like full on like VR. Japan's on top of that with like full on squeezing, touching, rubbing, and a whole bunch of other kind of stuff. They're already.
But there's those people that have certain porn actresses that they like. You know what I mean? Like there's you know, everyone. And like being able to have that type of experience with a porn star that you like, I'm pretty sure that's gonna boom.
Yeah.
In a way, like
Yeah.
You're looking at it as like, oh, 3D models and all that stuff. Like, yeah, whatever. But the actual idea of like having an actual actress or actor for porn that you like and having that's pretty. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be a big market on its own, especially the 3D stuff as well, probably.
Okay.
Okay, we talked enough about VR. We talked about the bad. We talked about the good.
Yeah, we talked about No Man's Sky. We talked about VR. We talked about horror games. We talked about consoles pretty much dying. And the last thing I at least have on my list, because I'm sure there's more stuff you guys will want to talk about, is the abysmal Konami fiasco with Survive.
I thought we were going to
dude. Okay, so essentially for anyone that hasn't been paying attention for the past 3 days or so, a new Metal Gear Solid was announced called Metal Gear Solid Survive. It's made by Konami, has no connection whatsoever to Kojima, and it is essentially a zombie survival game. Why? Because they like money, and they think Westerners are just going to eat it up, even though zombie survival games are essentially dying here in the West anyway. So, what's your take on this, guys?
Fuck Konami? No, I don't know who wants to take the floor on this one.
I don't know, because they're doing the same thing with Tomb Raider, and with Tomb Raider, I've always envisioned, you know, like Lara Croft versus zombies. Like, that's been one of my, you know, biggest thing. But with Metal Gear, that's like a stealth-like game. Like, with Tomb Raider, when they're doing it, it makes a lot more sense. I mean, it's adventure, it's action, it's all this kind of stuff. But with Metal Gear, you're supposed to be like, you know, stealthy. And I mean, I can't think of one stealthy zombie game in the life of me. But
I have
it's a money grab because, I mean, zombies are popular. Zombies are popular. Yeah. We all know it. Walking Dead.
Daisy.
Yeah, State of Decay, Daisy, which is, in my opinion, a horrible fucking game.
It's a horrible game, but it has a good premise.
Yeah.
The idea that you're in this massively multiplayer map where you can't trust anyone. It's like The Road.
Yeah. But yeah, zombies are huge, and I think Konami is trying to get into this market. You know, I mean, they couldn't make a new IP, so they used, Metal Gear to sell it. And I mean, I have a topic later for talking about zombies and stuff like that. But I mean,
conspiracy. I have a conspiracy about this.
Let's hear it.
Okay. This involves PT.
Oh, Dude,
we're gonna get into deeper detail about PT in the horror section of this. But okay, PT is this wild, successful thing, right? Norman Reedus, right?
Yeah.
Project gets canceled. Okay, so later down the line, Kojima is working on
Death
project.
Stranding.
No.
Oh.
We're gonna get there. They separate. Konami and Kojima separate, and Kojima works on the new project Death Stranded with Norman Reedus from PT. People get excited and all that stuff, and okay, the game involves Death Stranded. There are hints and all that stuff about wormholes and time travel and all this other type of weird stuff with some of the teaser stuff that they've been releasing lately. And now we're gonna get into Metal Gear Survive. So,
I thought when Bob said it, I thought he was talking about me.
I want to say that I think Metal Gear Survive is a fuck you to Kojima, because it takes place, on his, it's supposed to take place in the same universe as 5. I don't know if it's an alternate, reality or some shit, but
VR.
but there's this one moment where there's a wormhole sucking up everyone and taking them into this place. Is it a fuck you because Kojima got Norman Reedus and they're getting people hyped for his new game, and the way that Konami is handling it is that, well, we can add wormholes into Metal Gear, like you're nothing special, so let's add wormholes into Metal Gear. Because it's strange because it's so weird that it's like this back and forth with them, like how Kojima got Norman Reedus again,
Yeah, and I mean, Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro. Did I say the first name right? Guillermo?
I think it is Guillermo.
Okay. Like, they were on board and they wanted PT to happen. I think that's why Norman Reedus stuck with Kojima, because he wanted, to see what Kojima's vision was. He thought that was some very, very special, and he wanted to be a part of it. And yes, I do think it's a big fuck you to Kojima, because, I mean, Metal Gear was his baby. He built that game from the ground up and to what it is today.
What was Konami known before Metal Gear Solid?
Contra, I believe.
And Castlevania. Was it Castlevania?
The Turtles games. The Turtles games were huge. Let's see, what else?
But I mean, like...
Castlevania.
Castlevania. But the thing is, Metal Gear Solid was the first cinematic 3D game on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
And it was the first game that, we'll talk about, like, Half-Life and all these other games that did a lot of the similar stuff. But it was like watching a movie inside of a video game. And at the time that happened, it was, we were getting a lot of simplistic games that their cutscenes were very half-assed, and some of the times it would be just a wall of text telling you what the story was. Or if you were not lucky, you would have to read the manual for the story.
Like Mario.
Like Mario. Well, Mario has a really screwed up storyline. Yeah. But, well, the thing that's very interesting about this is that, Kojima made a game series that pushed what are, it made a certain genre of game where, we started getting more cinematic experiences after that. He did set a standard after he made Metal Gear.
Yeah.
A lot of these, games that we play, like Uncharted, even if I don't like Uncharted, they are very cinematic experiences, and I would still say that it was probably thanks to Kojima for, being a very avid movie-going, aficionado. He very much liked our Western culture and loved, the 90s movies and all that stuff. And a lot of his work reflects that. And, and then having, Konami screw their number one franchise to the ground. It's just it baffles me that they and this is their first attempt at making a Metal Gear project without Kojima.
Yeah.
And if I was Konami, like the thing is, I don't understand why they're doing this. Well, I kind of do, because the assets are there and it's easy to make. But they've stated that they want to be nice to their fans. They want to earn their trust again, and this is not the way to do it.
Bullshit. Yeah, I remember watching that Alpha Omega Sid video. Bullshit. They want our trust back.
They're not getting it back.
They're not going to get it back. After what happened to PT, I was royally pissed at what they did.
I actually was holding out on that. I didn't straight up.
I knew.
You know what I thought they were gonna do, and if they did do it,
yeah.
Hello.
What? Yo, Mr. Crit. Crit.
Oh, technical difficulties.
I
thought what they were gonna do was.
Sorry, I interrupted. Someone came in.
That's fine. That's fine.
But what was I talking about?
What you thought they were gonna do?
Yeah,
what I thought Konami was gonna do, which was the smart decision, would have been just re-release the first game in the Fox engine. That's what I thought.
The very first one, like Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid. I thought they were gonna do that, and I think that would have been
great. That would have been fantastic.
Yeah, that would have been.
It would have been fantastic if they just didn't cancel the next Silent Hill. But
but if their next action after canceling PT was re-releasing the first game in Fox Engine, I think that would have won us over.
What I do think is great, which definitely even doubly screwed over Konami, is that. Who's that guy that plays Daryl? I don't even know his real name.
Oh, Norman Reedus.
Norman Reedus. So obviously he was going to be the main character for the next Silent Hill, right?
Yeah.
And Konami obviously owns the rights to Silent Hill. Here's the thing. Del Toro and Daryl moved over with Kojima. They said,
I don't know.
Screw you to Konami, and guess what? Now all of a sudden, his new game, Kojima's new game,
which I'm very intrigued by, even though the first trailer is very artsy, but there are hints about wormholes and time travel, and I'm a huge fan of that.
Did you watch that same video? Like, I forget who made the video, but it's like basically what the meaning of Death Stranding is. That's the video I've watched when I was on vacation for about 2 months. But yeah, I liked it. It seems like a good idea.
And if it's pulled off really well, I mean, like if anyone is, and the thing is, it's a new IP.
Yeah,
it's a new IP from a person that has been forced to be honest. He's been forced to make the Metal Gear Solid series. Like, I mean, like the first one was very successful, and he went on with 2, and then 3, and then 4, and it was always the thing where he felt like he had to. And it's kind of neat that Phantom Pain was supposed to be kind of like the love letter, but even though it was rushed to be released, it's supposed to be the last staple of that game. I'm still gonna say this. I do think if Metal Gear Solid 5 still had more time in the oven, it would have been a far better game. And I think I still think it doesn't quite live up to the potential of the series, but still it has. Yeah. If you read up on the development of why things had to change when that game was being in development, I mean, Kojima was being forced to rush things, and it shows in that game. That game is a lot of doing the same thing over and over again. It's, as much as I like that game, it's fun for like the first couple days, but once you realize you're doing the same missions over and over again, it kind of sucks. And when you read up on the missing assets and all that stuff, it does kind of suck that the ending is not really in there. You know, and I'm just glad that Kojima is finally out of that. But it's just so strange that they're doing this whole dick comparison type thing where, well, you canceled PT, well, we got Norman Reedus again. Well, we put a wormhole in Metal Gear Solid. You know what I mean? Which is what's in Death Stranded. There's hints about wormholes. We don't know if there is going to be a wormhole in there. But it's definitely...
I don't think it's going to be tied to Metal Gear Solid at all, to be honest.
Yeah. I think it's...
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like... I hate this game mode so much, but Call of Duty Zombies, where it's like, it's not even in the same, like, timeline or anything as the game, but it has, like, a whole new cast of characters from what I'm looking at. It has, like, these new characters that I don't even know who the fuck they are.
I think essentially what they're going to do is they're just going to recycle a bunch of stuff from Metal Gear Solid 5 and then sell what is essentially an expansion as a full game and then charge full price for it.
Yeah.
But isn't it strange that we just recently figured out that Death Stranded has wormholes in it? That the thing that they said when they were showing that trailer is that in the description of the all the articles say, like, it's a wormhole. It's a wormhole. Everyone's saying it's a wormhole, you know?
What if that baby is actually him? It's different alternate time versions of him and he's giving birth to himself. You know?
Well, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get some interesting there's some interesting stuff with Death Stranded, and I'm curious about it. That trailer didn't make me curious, even though Kojima is a crazy bastard and he does a lot of weird things that people don't really think are really clever. But it's kind of neat that we have a game coming out that we don't know really what it is.
Or what it is.
It's really refreshing, not like No Man's Sky, where we did get what they showed us, but we thought there was going to be more. But, you know...
Yeah, it's not like they're asking him, hey, is it going to be a multiplayer game? He's just outright saying, I can't talk about it. Like, that's it. He's not saying, yeah.
Well, he's saying we're working on it. We're in the very early stage. We're looking for an engine. That's about it.
Looking for an engine?
I think it's being in development right now, officially. But at the time of the first teaser, he was looking through engines to make the game.
Huh.
Yeah. So Death Stranded is not using the Fox engine because Konami owns the Fox engine.
Bull crap.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I
So
thought that's what
that
the trailer was in the whole time. I thought that's what... I didn't realize... I didn't even think about Konami actually owning the engine, too, yeah. Damn.
And now Konami's going to be using that engine for pachinko machines. Am I right? Am I right, guys?
Oh, God. Oh, wow.
All right, so...
the money.
But I, in my opinion, I think Metal Gear Survive is going to flop, and I think it's going to flop hard because after Kojima left, every Metal Gear Solid fan basically despised it. And I mean, I didn't play Metal Gear Solid 5, but hearing from a couple of my friends that, you know, actually played the game, they were disappointed with it. And, you know, I mean...
A lot of it was because of the rush, and a lot of people...
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Anyone that's a true Metal Gear Solid fan, I'm not going to speak for everyone that's a Metal Gear Solid fan. No Kojima. I knew Kojima right around Metal Gear Solid 2. That's when I started realizing it was made... This guy made this interesting, you know, way of making a game, very cinematic and all that stuff. And I read up on him and watched interviews with him, and he's a very interesting person. He pulls a lot of stuff out of his head. He's a very interesting individual. You know, some people hate Metal Gear Solid 4, but there are a lot of interesting stuff in that. You know, I like Metal Gear Solid 5 I like the Metal Gear Solid universe so much because it's something. It's hard for me to explain. It's this thing where it's so strange, but you like the strange. It's that's the thing I like about it.
Okay. Yeah,
it's the strange factor. It's that thing where a lot of the times when you play a game, they try to tell you a very straightforward story.
It's like being subscribed to Filthy Frank on YouTube. You know, it's like
yeah.
It's just so strange. It's kind of hard, not to watch it.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of weird that he does all this kind of stuff, but at the same time, it's pretty damn entertaining.
I mean, Gray Fox and the whole like crazy ninjas and nanomachines and all that stuff. Even though Bob says that he doesn't care for the nanomachine, the storyline, it's different though. It's something that's very strange. You know what I mean? The whole idea that nanomachines eventually will make you regenerate and have to drink blood like a vampire, you know? But I mean, like, it's interesting weirdness. That's the thing I like about it. You can't say that his storyline has been, like, he is very influenced by Western stuff. Some guy will tell me, well, this storyline was taken from a 1970 movie and all this. I was like, I don't care about that. The way he took inspiration and made his own thing out of it was very entertaining for me. And seeing the Metal Gear Solid series move on without him, I just don't really see any reason for me to stick around because all they're going to do is try to make it into Uncharted. That's all I think they're going to do. I think they're going to they're going to reboot it and they're going to make it a very straightforward story with all our favorite characters and those interesting people like Psycho Mantis not in the picture. It really does suck that Konami is going to screw such a beloved series, but in the to a wonderful series rises a new one, Death Stranded, and I hope only the best for him.
Yeah,
I hope we get plenty of games from him because he's one of those people. He's like what's that guy that made Deadly Premonition? Swery.
Here, wait a minute. I know him.
Swery. I think it's Swery.
Here, wait a minute. Deadly Premonition. It is.
Yeah, Swery.
Yeah.
It's. I'm a huge fan of Bob will call me a weeaboo and all that stuff, but a lot of these Japanese people, the reason why I like a lot of their content is because they make such weird shit.
I'm not gonna
love that.
Look, hold on. I'm not gonna call you a weeaboo because you like some Japanese people. I love Kojima.
Yeah.
Kojima seems like a cool guy.
Yeah.
I'll call you a weeaboo if you have a poster of Hyper Neptunia on your wall, and you bought a game because it came with a pair of panties or something like. And I've seen that before. Like, I'll call you a weeaboo if you do that. Oh yeah, I'll call you a weeaboo if you do that. But like, if you buy back when Resident Evil 5 came out, there was a collector's edition of it that had an actual vial of the virus. Like, it was a glass vial and it had like a thing floating in it. Oh yeah, it was Japan only. It was like $150 or some shit, right?
Jesus.
That collector's edition actually had a collector's item in it. And so what if it's Japanese? It's you enjoy that game series. It has something that's very, I guess, more mature and understandable as a collector's edition. You go for it. But if you bought a collector's edition of a game because it has a big booby statue in it and all the characters all have big boobs and bright eyes and they all talk like they're 5 years old and shit, you're a weeaboo. You're a weeaboo. Straight up.
I mean, the reason I like Japanese stuff, especially their video games, is that they give us something that the Western market can't give us.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Plus, a lot of Japanese games tend to not care about the Western PC culture, too. So they tend to touch on topics and stuff like that a lot of people here don't really like to talk about, that seem taboo. So, a lot of these Japanese games, they're talking about how, let's say that there's a murder case, like where a husband mistreats a wife or something like that. Over here, if someone were to type that in as a story alone, like on the internet, PC culture is going to attack it.
There's literally a scene in Metal Gear Solid 3 I'm gonna talk about something that's not very PC, but there's a scene, quite literally, where you meet one of the strong female characters in the game. Forgot her name.
Ghost.
But the one that rides the bike. And
does she have a bikini?
Oh yeah. No, I know who you're talking about.
And she shows her breasts at one point. She has it zipped down. I think it's because she grabs her gun out of like inside her jacket or some shit. Or maybe she just does it because she's hot in the fucking crazy hot, jungle out there or whatever. Mm-hmm. But she zips it down, and you're talking to her, and there's this button prompt to the top left. Press L1, which is one of the bumpers on the PlayStation. You press it, and you look at her breasts, and then if you let go of it, you can see Big Boss just staring down there like a fucking pervert. But I mean, like but I think there's charm to that it's something that we don't see a lot. It's something that, even though that's childish to us, and someone's gonna say it in the comments, type it in, you're a child and you think that's amusing. It's like, well, yeah, I'll agree that I do like childish humor.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. We don't see boobies a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I know, I'm joking, but
I'm just saying that it is childish humor. But what's wrong with childish humor?
Yeah.
South Park is one of the most well-known series right now. It's probably one of the most successful shows. It's on its 16th season, and they make fart jokes and poop jokes.
Yeah.
There's obviously an appeal to childish humor. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why childish stuff can't be in, all of us,
entertainment,
if it entertains you, sure, whatever. And if anything offends you or triggers you or whatever, you just ignore it. Like, why write a blog about it?
Because all it's doing is teaching young men that staring at boobs is okay, and that's rape culture or something. And something.
Here's the thing.
Whatever.
Maybe you've never heard of this, but bad publicity is still publicity.
Mm-hmm.
And if you, and the thing is, GTA 5 or GTA in general, I remember as a kid playing GTA 3 coming out, and I wasn't interested in the game at first, but I hear all these news blurbs saying this new game where you get to steal cars and shoot hookers and mow
down people without even slowing down.
And I hear oh man, there's this game out there that's getting all the attention. It's like, it must be really fucked up. I want to play that game. I bought that game. I played it. They got my money because of that. Because of the fact that it's so controversial. So you getting all, angry about a game like hatred and all that stuff, you're just putting money in the actual dev's pocket by being offended by said project. If you really, want to make a difference, don't talk about it. If you talk about it, people are going to buy it, especially if you, as a person, are offended by it, and people are like, you're offended by a video game? We're going to just buy it. You know what I mean? I've literally have had this conversation with other people. Like, if you're offended by a certain game...
Oh, hold on a second. I got a phone call, actually. Hold on. You can keep talking, though. It's going to record.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. Like, this whole thing about being, offended, and I really wish some of the devs would, man up, because there's so many devs that are, oh, you're offended by the way that she was wearing her, clothes? We'll change that.
Yeah, and the thing is that, look at Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball 3, is it? When they censored that out when they censored a lot of it no, it wasn't allowed in the U.S. Because people got offended. And that even though, I love Dead or Alive. I think it's an amazing fighting game. I don't like it because of the girls. I think it's a really, really good fighting game. And it made me want to get the game, imported from Japan. I really want to play, and I
play Overwatch and all that stuff, and I like the game, but the devs they quiver at the chance that someone is offended by something. if I ever made a video game, I'm going to appeal to one person. If I made a video game now, I would make a game that appeals to me, something that I want to make. Necessarily, not everyone's going to like that. If someone wants to make an RTS, someone is not going to like an RTS. If you're going to make a game where it's all females, someone's not going to like that. You got to realize in this market, you're not going to please everyone. You shouldn't try to strive for that. You should strive for the people that you know are going to buy your game.
Yeah,
you shouldn't strive to please everyone.
Yeah, and me and Bob actually talked about it. I think the first video we made together, we talked about the Tracer thing, and just why. And even Street Fighter V, people were offended by Chun-Li and Armika's
Cammy.
booty slap. Like, wait, what?
And Cammy as well.
Yeah, Cammy. You show one little piece of anything, and people get offended, and that just, to me, ruins the game. If you try to censor something because somebody didn't like it, or it offends,
they're not going to
people,
buy that game anyway.
They're not going to buy it. They're just going to complain, and then ruin it for the people that actually wanted to buy it. Now, me, I don't like Street Fighter. It's not my type of fighter. I hate it. But doing the censors and stuff, that ruins the fun for the actual Street Fighter players. And I feel that that's wrong.
And there's people out there that defend this shit, where like, good on them and all that stuff. It's like, you're never gonna buy the game anyways. You're gonna tell me some SJW woman is gonna learn how to do a fucking 30-hit combo on Street Fighter? Get the fuck out of here.
Wombo combo. Yeah, and I know you don't like Uncharted 4, but they removed like a big feature that was in like all the classic, Uncharted.
The fat thing?
Yeah, the donut Nathan Drake or whatever they called him. They didn't. They removed it. They already had it in the game, but they removed it because they didn't want to offend anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because insert year here.
Yeah. And I want to talk about how controversial, and this will be a controversial topic, but we have to say it. Anita Sarkeesian, for one moment. Okay. Whatever. She has her blog and all that stuff. I don't wish any ill will of her. She can. Yeah. It's a free country. You can do whatever you want. But here's how clueless she is in the industry. They showed a trailer at QuakeCon, I think, for Doom, the new Doom, and she got offended that it's like there's so much gore. I can't believe it.
I do remember that.
And then I was like, what? And
have you ever played Doom before?
Doom was the standard for that. The thing is,
Doom and Mortal Kombat were the standard for gore. Like that was what was popular in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doom had a lot of flack because of demonic and gore. Because games we're getting to the point where at the beginning of the industry we couldn't do this shit. We couldn't make gore. We couldn't do this. Because, it's a game for kids, or these are for kids.
Yeah.
But then we are pushing the boundaries constantly, and now we're at this point where SJWs are going, we got to censor it all. And it's like, why? Why? We're limiting ourselves because you're offended by it? Now, I'm sorry to say this. Video games aren't supposed to reflect you. I never once played, Doom and thought I was the Space Marine. No way am I going to be a fucking Space Marine on Mars killing demons. And people saying like, oh, typical. That woman has big breasts and she looks beautiful. And it's like, well, that's not supposed to appeal to you, but video games are not supposed to be a reflection. It's supposed to be entertainment. It's like the same thing as watching a movie. If there is a beautiful woman on there, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm offended by it because of this. It's like, well, because it's, what you want. Yeah. It's so strange that people are like thinking that. I don't know. I never once related to Big Boss. I think Big Boss is badass, but I don't think of me as the one eye badass spy operative. No, I don't relate to that. I've never been a spy operative.
Or
Have
you
you?
say.
Oh,
Yeah, or
I
say,
am.
say.
I'm the spy for the Gamergate.
But no,
It's an inside job.
I know what you're saying. Like, I mean, the reason why we couldn't do all the stuff like the stuff like Doom and the gore and everything was because I don't want to point like people out, but the Christians and the religious people, they were outraged when they found out that like people can play games that had violent content in it. I mean, after like we started getting used to it, everybody was just normal about it, and you know.
And the thing is, violence is not a bad thing. I think.
Yeah. We've been doing this since the dawn of man.
Well, I mean, violence, like, everyone will treat violence as a bad thing, and this whole gun, I'm talking about fucking gun control for a second. It's like, you should have some sort of protection for your own home and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, it would, God forbid, if someone came to anyone's house and slit their fucking throat while they were sleeping. Yeah. You should be able to have that, but there's this whole thing where everyone thinks that violence is bad. Violence is bad. It's like, violence is actually not bad, nor is it good. all I have to say is all this stuff scares me, just like scary video games. Segue.
Segue.
Yeah. Well, I know. Hold on. I know Survive Combatants had some things on his own list because he's been wanting to talk with me for a while now. So, like, what's on your list that you would want to go
dude,
over?
I've made this list like a while ago.
I know, like months ago.
I mean, I really do want to get into the survival horror thing because that's basically a big part of my life. And if it isn't video game, if it isn't fighting games, it's horror.
Oh, I thought you were going to say comedy.
We really want to talk about horror right now, don't we? Okay.
Dude.
I thought we were going to talk about comedies and how the comedy genre is dying. No. Horror. Finally, the topic that I'm excited about because it's dead.
Yeah.
No. It's not dead. It's just everyone's doing the same fucking shit. And it's going to die eventually, and then people will move on to the next thing with horror. Hopefully we'll get a game that's close to Resident Evil, Silent Hill, or what's another good horror game? Fear?
What?
Dead Space. I want games like those.
Yeah, Dead Space was really good. I played that, let's see, I think I played that when I was a lot younger.
Even Resident Evil 4 was scary with the weird creature that was
okay, I will say this. I love the first Resident Evil trilogy because, it I don't know if it's nostalgia or not, but it just has a charm with it. It balances with the action and the, with the puzzles. With Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6, and possibly 7, I don't feel that. It's just another, action title to me.
I still think Resident Evil 4 is a Resident Evil game, though. To be honest, I'll defend it. Okay, at the time, we didn't have those type of zombies in Resident Evil,
Yeah.
And just let you know, I did not watch trailers or anything about... I don't understand these people that, like, want things spoiled to them. The new Star Wars movie is coming out. Better watch every fucking trailer so I know pretty much every little secret about the movie. Like, when I watched Star Wars, I watched one trailer, the new Force Awakens, and I enjoyed the movie a lot more. I think a lot of people are stupid and they'll go like, I gotta watch every trailer for the new movie. Movies spoil shit. There's this one trailer for a movie I was interested in, and it ruined it for me. There was this one movie that had a twist, and this was the first trailer that came out for it, by the way. And the trailer showed the twist.
Yeah.
It was like a 5-minute long trailer, and it just paid 5 minutes for a trailer, by the way. It's really fucking long. You can tell, like a 5-minute trailer.
Excuse me.
That's a music video and some. That's a Kanye West music video. That's a reference to an actual Kanye West music video that's like 30 minutes long.
Oh, Jesus.
I think it is 30 minutes long, where it's like a movie.
But no.
But like the Resident Evil 4, when I watched it, there are parts of it that are scary. The cultish type stuff, the dogs that churn into weird creatures. At the time, I'm a huge fan of the movie The Thing. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and 4 seems a lot like The Thing in the idea of, like, you know, the whole transmorphous beings, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The whole thing where, the thing where, like, you don't know what the creature will change into, like, that is scary. And at the time when I first played Resident Evil 4, I was scared because of that. And the chainsaw wielding guys and all that stuff. There's tension, there's thrill in Resident Evil 4. 5, on the other hand, is a piece of shit. But 4 still has horror in it. I still believe it has horror. You don't get crazy amount of ammunition. You're always at the cusp of losing ammunition, you know?
Yeah. But,
it's still a horror game, in my opinion. You might not be a worthy, title for the 1, 2, and 3, but I still think it's a horror game, and I still think it hits its notes still. And that's my defense. You can have your piece. You can have your piece now. Any moment now, you can have it.
I grew
come on,
up...
just say it.
Wait.
Just spill it out. Just spill it out. Just say what you want.
Wait. I grew up with Resident Evil. I've been playing Resident Evil since I was, at least 3 or 4 years old. Like, that's when I think I started out with 2, 3, and then 1. And I think I've completed Resident Evil 1 Director's Cut at least 2 times. And that's but Resident Evil 2 and 3, they hit me very hard because, when I was little, those graphics were, like, surreal, and I was, astonished, like, and if you guys have ever played Resident Evil 2, you guys would know what I'm talking about. The first time you go to the Kendo gun shop, if you don't go through the door and... sorry. But if you don't go to the door, but you turn left and you pick up the ammo. If you pick up the ammo, there will be a sort of like cutscene where the zombies break through the glass and ate the Kendo guy. And that horrified me. That literally, like, I would say scar me in a good way. Like, it made me love the game because, it scared me. And I just didn't feel that when I played, Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6. I don't know why.
But I will still, you're open to your opinion, but there are parts in Resident Evil 4 that, to this day, they get me a little bit. I was like, it's still scary. And I can understand from your perspective.
The only thing that scared me from Resident Evil 4 is the guy that's covered in spikes.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
everything else was not scary. I did not jump. Yeah. I did not get spooked or anything like that until I ran into the guy that shoots a bunch of spikes out of him. That was the only scary thing. That was it.
To me, I think the tension of the potential of you not having enough ammo for, like when the chainsaw guy comes after you at the beginning. I think that was scary. I think the dogs were scary the first time, the freakish ones. I will admit the bosses weren't that scary. I'll admit that. But there's still parts in there, like the guy that's blind, the guy with the sewed up eyeballs, and that he can hear everything. That scared me when I first played it.
What are you buying?
No, that guy scared me.
No, he made me laugh the first time I heard him. What are you buying?
Well, he's my favorite Resident Evil character, right next to him.
I was always a Jill and Claire fan. Those
Chris
two.
Chris can go suck a dick. He looks like he likes to suck dick. But, fuck. What was the last horror game that you played that scared you? Gave you terror. I have an answer, and I wonder if you guys are going to make fun of me.
The last horror game that I played?
Yeah, the last horror game I played.
Scared you. Scared you.
PT,
Had a moment of fear.
PT. Because, you know, I mean, it was the atmosphere. That's what really scares me is, you know, the atmosphere and, you know, the unknown. And when I was 3, I didn't know, you know, zombies that much. And that unknown scared me to death. And something that could happen, you know, zombies out in the streets and stuff, you need to run and, you know, survive.
Last game. Bob, last game that you played that scared you.
Pinball FX2?
Ooh.
The
DLC scared you?
Oh no, man! They got an aliens board on it now, so you know it's pretty spooky with the alien, you know, hissing at you while you're trying to play pinball.
Man, my joke was funnier.
I honestly don't remember the last scary game that I've played. It's been a long time, but
yeah.
In pinball's defense, I mean, when you're trying to get that high score, man, you can't just keep throwing away your balls like that, man. You can't. You only got 3 of them, man. You
gotta grab them balls.
I know, man. You just gotta keep whacking them balls as much as you can, man. You can't just throw them away.
Yeah, you gotta suck on them. I mean, you gotta play with them. I mean, you gotta
push them and poke them around. You gotta bump them against stuff.
Hey, enough with Bob's sex life. Let's talk about what I'm afraid of.
Okay.
Dead Space was the last game that I got afraid of.
Ooh.
And I have a perfect example, and it actually, the atmosphere of that game, I'm a huge fan of sci-fi horror. I'm a sci-fi horror, like Resident Evil, I say that it scared me, but wasn't really, I never got to the point where, I'm more of afraid of the unknown. Like, The Thing, where it was an alien.
That's what I said.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you said, well, the thing is, it's a ghost. The thing is about PT, it's a ghost. You know?
True.
You can somehow rationalize that it's a ghost. The necromorphs, it's a disease led by a space artifact. That is something that you are not ready to prepare because you don't know how to handle that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is something that's strange. And I want to talk about the scene that scared me. Okay, I've been playing the game, just letting you know, the whole entire time I've been like scared by the jumps and scared by the weird guy hitting the head on the pipe. Been scared by all the weird imagery and the music and the engine sounds. But I fought a boss. The boss wasn't scary. It was a very tense fight. And I went into the elevator after it. And I was looking at my inventory to manage my health and all that stuff. And I hear this in my headset. And this, you know, the inventory is real time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The inventory is real time. So the elevator is still moving as I'm looking through my health. And I'm in the elevator, and I'm looking, and I'm like healing myself, seeing how much ammo I have. And I hear, You will bind us together, Isaac. That's what I hear. You know what I mean? I hear this. It's very whispery. I'm like, what the fuck just said that? And I pop out of my pop out of my inventory, and I see this shadow figure holding his severed arm, looking at me, and he walks away. And that scared me, and I was like, it's just that whole thing is like, you will bind us together, Isaac. I'm like, what the fuck? And I walk out and I see this guy staring at me. You know what I mean? And walks away.
Yeah, and I mean,
and it's very simple. The thing is, the thing is, it's being subtle. It's being subtle, and nowadays, subtlety is not in horror.
Yeah.
the whole thing is like we have to have a jump scare in the first hour of the game.
Friday Nights at Freddy. Amnesia.
Oh yeah, and layers of bacon. Well, I mean layers of fear.
But
layers
no, I mean that's
layers
why
of rip-offs. That's what that's what that game should be called.
Oh wow, that's actually a pretty good name. But no, that's why I'm so excited for like the Resident Evil remake 2 and 3 if it will come out. Because I mean, you don't know what to do in a situation, or in 3 especially, you don't know what to do in a situation like when the zombies come. You may be prepared for it, but you don't really know what to do. Like, if you are being overcrowded and you have, like, little to no ammunition, there's no food around, like, that limited health. I wish they would go back to survival horror instead of just, like, jump scary horror. Like, that's what I loved most, was, like, the puzzles, the limited ammunition, the limited health. Like, oh my god, there's been so many times in Resident Evil 2 and 3 where I've been completely screwed. And I had to restart because I didn't have enough health or ammunition.
And especially with Resident Evil 1, there's not only the ammo thing, but also the gas canister thing.
Yeah. And I mean, it could serve some ammo. But I mean, when you go up to like, I say, let's see, 5 zombies that eats bullets like, oh Jesus. It terrifies you. Like, it terrifies you when you have no ammo and you have 5 zombies coming over to your direction and you have no way of getting out.
And also the thing that terrifies me about Dead Space, I want to get back to it, was the fact that everything is a human that you're fighting.
True.
Everything is a morphosis of the body being morphed into a creature. Like the movie The Thing, and that's what really terrifies me, is that whole thing where like you're in a suit and all that stuff, but you're constantly questioning the fact that maybe I'm infected with whatever the fuck these people are infected with. You know what I mean? Like that idea is scary onto itself, because like I said, it's a space entity. It's something that cannot be broken down by rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like bacteria.
Yeah, like bacteria. Like zombies is bacteria infection by coughing or scratching or
biting
biting or anything. There's an understanding on some level on that. But with space, you can never know, because it could be a whole different level of fuck you. You know what I mean? You could be screwed in like so many different ways. And that's what fascinates me about horror. What doesn't fascinate me about horror is being guided into a hallway and looking at something and then the jump scare happens.
Yeah.
I'm more of a fan of give us an hour or two of just building up a world and then scare us. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you just come in and with both guns, loaded, and you're just gonna scare us throughout the whole entire thing, we're not gonna like your game. You're just getting cheap scares from us, and you're not building a world. Being terrified, when you're writing horror, you have to make it relatable in some way, where it's a scenario that you could see, and also you have to build characters, you have to build the rules, you got to build a lot. And if you build a world around horror, the possibilities are very well done. Like Dead Space is a good example, Resident Evil is a good example.
Silent Hills is a good example because, I mean, you can see what these people have done. Like, was it the first game where he killed... No,
Silent Hill 2, the monsters are a reflection of the character himself.
Yeah, they're all... Pyramid Head is, like, I believe his sexual desires, is it?
No, it's like...
I thought it was his...
His guilt or something. I thought it was guilt. But the thing about, well, I mean, like, there's creatures that are all legs, and there's open to interpretation that the main character in Silent Hill 2 cheated on his wife while she was sick. So all the legs is all the creature that's all just a bunch of legs is seductiveness. Legs signify that it's very sexualized, the legs, and that's interesting. There's so many horror is such a great opportunity for a lot of interesting ideas, but where we're at right now is just the realm of ripping off people. We're just ripping off other people. You're not coming up with your own original ideas, and if any people are listening that like Layers of Fear, play fucking PT.
Well, you can't anymore.
We can't play PT.
Yeah.
If PT was I'm still surprised that Konami hasn't.
Okay, when it comes out, play Resident Evil Remake 2,
Yeah.
or Remake 1. Just play that game. If you really want a horror, experience, play those old games.
But Layers of Fear has no originality to it. It has nothing to it. The world isn't interesting. The horror idea has already been done. Nothing. All it's holding on to is Kojima's success.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And, you can be inspired, you can take ideas for someone, but as long as you do something different with it, I'm perfectly fine with. You know what I mean? That's what Kojima does. He takes a lot of his inspiration from other materials and does his own thing with them. But with, and some people get a little too anal retention. Like, why can't people come up with original ideas? It's like, well, because all the original ideas have already been taken. Yeah. All you can do is be inspired by other ideas and make your own inspiration from that. To be honest, that's the hard truth.
Yeah, and wait, what were you gonna say?
Well, one of the things I was gonna say is that PT was interesting because it was something that wasn't being done at the time, and the Layers of Fear took that idea and they're doing that with it. And we, me and Bob, we watched this trailer for Agony, which is doing the same thing, but it looks like they're at least doing something different with it, where I think there is combat in it a little bit, and also it takes place in hell, which is very interesting. Not very many horror games take place in hell.
Yeah.
And also there's this another game called, what is it called? I was talking to fucking Bob about it. It's about VR. It's about virtual reality. It's like
Resident Evil 7.
I think it was called Get Even. I think it was called Get Even. And I could be wrong, but it's this game where it's taking the idea that Kojima did, where you don't know the perception of reality, but it looks like it has shooting mechanics. It looks like it's more than just that. Looks like it's doing more than like, oh, there's no scary woman in near. As far as I can see, there's no woman that's chasing after you that grabs you and gets really close to your face and goes boo.
To me,
at least.
Go ahead.
What?
No.
At least Get Even looks at. Get Even looks interesting because it's taking the ideas that Kojima did, but not straight up ripping it off like Layers of Fear.
Yeah.
Layers of Fear is straight up. The monster is the same monster in PT. Different texture, but same fucking animation. It does the exact same thing.
To me, it's all about atmosphere.
Yeah,
it's 90% atmosphere. You can have. Let's put you in a situation. Let's put the listener in a situation here. If you were to see the old house that was built in the 1800s sitting on top of a hill, right? Like that classic kind of Scooby-Doo house, right? If you were to see something like that in real life, And let's just assume that ghosts aren't real, demons aren't real. Let's just for a second assume that it's just a very realistic house, right? It's just sitting there, it's just really fucking old, and it's the middle of the night. That atmosphere alone by itself is enough to scare people down to the bone, because it's something that they just aren't necessarily ready for. It's just the environment. The environment alone is what built that tension up into you, because you don't know what to expect. You don't know what's in there. You want to keep telling yourself that ghosts and all this other kind of crap isn't real, but that kind of house makes you second guess that. That kind of environment makes you second guess that. So when it comes to spooky games and all that other kind of stuff, worry about what jumps at them as like a last resort kind of scare. These games constantly use it as this thing that just keeps happening, and it gets the YouTube people, it gets the kids and stuff like that, but it doesn't get the hardcore people who understand what horror is about. What made games like PT and stuff great wasn't necessarily the fact that something was just out there to get you. You're always feeling this need, despite it just being the same hallway over and over, to peek around the corners, to look through doorways and cracks and windows and stuff like that, because you just don't know what is around you in your environment, what the environment is going to bring out at you. Because you know almost every single inch of what was going to happen in that game, something was going to get you. The environment brought that out in you, that innate fear in us. That we're in an area that that's just out of our control, out of our element. And
one of the... Oh, sorry. Keep on going.
Oh no! I was gonna finish it up anyway. But games like the new one, Agony, right? And I guess, like, for the sake of this talk, I'll try and add some of the gameplay in the background so people can see what I'm looking at or talking about. Is that the environment, what you're witnessing? There's not really anything necessarily to fight. There's nothing really getting ready to jump at you or anything like that. Just the environment alone, the background noises, the amount of immersion in that environment is extremely...
The teeth hallway.
Right. It has this ever looming thing, like you don't know what's happening all around you. It's not just like, oh, if I turn around, something's gonna jump at me, or like, oh no, the walls are bleeding kind of thing. You're completely put out of your element, and with the right setting, like with the lights off and maybe a nice headset on, that environment alone is going to scare you. You won't need anything to jump at you. The jumping at you is the bonus on top of that tension. Like, that's the thing that needs to pop the balloon of tension that has built up thanks to the environment. That's when you pop that and you're like, oh shit, and then you get fucking scared, right? You don't just pop it at them immediately. That gets old real fast, and people don't want that anymore. They don't.
And I mean, you can make a horror game without any type of monsters in it either. Like, it is possible to make a horror game without anything.
Right.
You
Look
just
at
have
Going
to
Home.
build up.
Going Home's a great thing.
Yeah.
Well, one of the games, I don't know if it ever got released, and I was interested by the idea. It took place in your own house. It's this game that
Allison Road? Dude,
No.
That's one
No,
talk about,
No, not Allison Road. There's a game that was before that took place in your house, and someone is intruding in your house.
Was it the one where you were playing as a little kid or something like that?
No. You are playing. You're playing as a full-grown adult, and someone's intruding in your own house, and you're trying to get a weapon to defend yourself.
Oh, dude, that alone sounds scary as shit.
Yeah, that
that's
sounds like
scary.
actual horror, man. Like,
but
like,
but the thing is, a lot of the time, like you say, you don't need to have a jump scare. I fucking hate jump scares, because all it is that you don't see anything, and then you turn your head and you see something. And it's like the equivalent of the maze in the 90s, where, complete the maze, Exorcist, JPEG, Scream, you know. I'm more of a fan of, like, the thing is, the way I want scares, like, to be honest, is like having a scary environment and then something of threat is coming after you.
Right.
Like the idea of being in a hallway, and then you go into a room, and then you come back into the same hallway, and you just see someone standing there in a hallway, and there's that moment of like clarity of like standing still, and as soon as you like maybe take one step back, the thing comes after you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The neat thing is that there is something that's coming after you, and then you run away from it. And it's like, that's good horror to me. Not this, you're walking in this one path, you walked the wrong path, so now a woman's grabbing you and screaming at your face. You walked the wrong way, so now you're going to be screamed at, and you're going to jump because
I find, yeah, exactly. I find it strange that one of the most memorable times that I've ever been scared by a video game was Fear 1. Oh, it was Fear 1 for me.
Wow.
Now,
seriously?
Yeah, one of the scariest, I didn't say games, I've said one of the scariest moments that I remember from a video game is in Fear 1 when I was climbing a ladder. And it wasn't a tenseful portion. It wasn't necessarily a jump scare. But if I remember what happened right, is that I was climbing down a ladder, and as I look up from climbing down, the little girl Alma's just staring down at me, like from the top of the ladder. I just came from there, like, and it had this feeling like, dude, she's just following me around everywhere. But for some reason, that gave me a little bit of a jump, and it wasn't even intended to be a jump scare. It was just something that was intended to be kind of creepy. And that's
the idea of being watched is creepy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's connected to exactly what you're talking about. Something chasing you is right after something watching you, because if something's watching you, it's probably gonna chase you, especially if it's some kind of demon or a ghost or something like that.
And the thing is, I'm not even necessarily saying that something needs to attack you or kill you. It just needs to pull off the, like, if you're like looking out a window or if you're like looking at a window at a particular time and you see someone walk across it into the bushes, that's scary enough. You know what I mean? Because it's like something was obviously there, and as soon as you observe that area, you scared off whatever was observing it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's scary. Like the idea of someone looking at you, like that's scary. Not, I don't know. I want to get into horror games, but horror games nowadays are just bad.
Like, I've had an idea for a horror game for the longest time, and then just, you know, like, why even?
People want jump scares.
Yeah, people want jump scares. They don't want true horror.
It's a cheap thrill. It's a $15 game. It gives you a bunch of moments, and then voila, you got your chemicals running through your brain for your $15, and there you go. There's your horror game. I remember when I was a kid and I was growing up, we grew up with Five Nights at Freddy's, and those are the scariest games ever. And blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I can still hear Foxy screaming away.
No. See, if I ever do have kids, they will like learn true horror like how I did. I mean, they won't be getting the new, you know, Xbox whatever or the PS whatever. They'll be playing.
By that time,
you know,
brands won't matter.
Yeah, but still, I'll still have my old consoles and my old games, and they'll experience, you know, what I experienced when I was young. You know, when the real tension.
By that time, all of those old games that you like will be on PC. Why? What are you talking about? I'll have my old console. Why play that when you can play it on your PC?
Resident Evil 1 or Resident Evil 2 and 3 are still not on Steam.
HD is coming.
Well, yeah, true.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna give it 5 more minutes if you guys even need that much to kind of wrap it up. Because no offense, I mean, I would love to just sit here and talk about video games all day because we fucking love video games. But it's been practically 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. So
it's actually been over or almost 3.
Yeah. So Is there any kind of final closing statements or anything like that? We covered a lot of ground today. We covered No Man's Sky, VR, horror games, the death of consoles, Konami, EA, Battlefield, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So some of this is definitely going to get edited out. I think it's just going to be like the long, drawn-out parts, but I'm going to try and at least get like our points, definitely put in.
You gotta add some spooky sounds between each head. It has to be like boing, and then like a slide whistle.
Maybe
whenever there's a joke, whenever there's a joke, can you put a laugh track behind it?
Big Bang style, huh?
Yeah.
Big Bang style.
Let's see. For the horror subject, I want to say this.
Especially for the pinball joke that I made about you. I want a laugh track on that one.
Okay. Fantastic.
The thing about horror is...
And also edit in some monkey sounds right now.
What? Monkey sounds?
Just a bunch of screaming monkeys. Yeah. Said that in somewhere.
Yeah, I need to... Oh my god, in about 30 minutes I need to start my series up again. But the thing I want to say is that horror is a hard thing to, make. Like, everybody has their own individual fears, but it's astounding if you can do like what Kojima does and, scare everybody in the audience, just not just people that have these kinds of fears, just, in general, just, scare everyone. And I think that's why people go for jump scares. They don't, it's hard to capture what fear really is.
It's funny that Bob did mention Fear 1 because I played the Fear demo and that's what made me buy the game, was the demo had that scene in there. The ladder scene.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made me buy that game, and I was like, when I played the full game, it was alright.
It was a great shooter, but for a horror, it was kind of bland. But it was a great shooter, though.
Yeah, there's parts of it that are creepy, but like the thing that I have to say about horror is that I think it's actually, I think it's easy, but people are exploiting the jump scare. Like, I mean, if I had programming prowess and I had shit ton of time, I could make a good horror game. But people that, they want to make these Unity games that are easy to make and have the jump scares like layers of crap. And I keep on coming up with new names for it. It's a bad game. You can't play Layers of Fear again after you play it once. Because you know where the jump scares are. Oh, if you look up on the elevator, there's something staring down at you. Oh, isn't that scary? The second time that you watched it? No, you already experienced it. I think like a game where the horror can randomly happen is very interesting. I think that would be cool. Like
infinite possibilities.
Yeah, infinite possibilities with the horror. But I mean, like, there could be a system where you can build into a house or something like that. Like if there's this like a place that you build up, and each one of them has their own random. Like you have, okay, let's say this. You have a system where like you have only a certain amount of time happens where a scare happens, or not a scare, but something happens, right? Like a bottle drops, or you know what I mean? Like, like you could program something like that, and not innately have like a monster go boo, whatever. But so when you play the game again, I'm not even saying like random, whatever. Actually, have have an experience that you programmed, and just have a like, let's say, 20 different chances of this happening, or you made 20 different versions of the same game, right? That's scary, right?
Yeah.
And every time that you play a new game, there's a random chance that it's different.
Oh, it's procedural. No.
It's not procedural. It's not procedural.
Oh, it's
Not
procedural horror games. What could be scarier for the game industry than adding jump scares and procedural? There's a random chance you'll be jump scared like 5 times in a row. So spooky.
No, I'm saying make the game 20. Make the frame and do your scares, and then do it differently each time, and then you have like 20 different versions of your game, right? And then when you press new game, you pick one of those 20 versions by random. So when you played it the first time and then you're like, hey, I haven't played that game in a while, you play it again, it scares you in a different way. Because you're like, oh, I think this is going to happen, but it didn't happen, you know? Like, that would be cool, in my opinion.
I don't feel like that's been done before. I feel like some game out
there
I
know,
did something like that. I know that there was something out there that would scare you in some parts and then wouldn't scare you in others, but I can't put my finger on it. But anyway, we all got stuff to do. We got real life things to do. So, Mr. Crit, thank you so much for joining me and talking about horror games.
It's been a horrible, horrible experience. Where's my green M&Ms and where is my cafe latte macchiato?
They're in your limousine. I actually have it being delivered to your house right now.
Yeah, just so you know, you mistyped my name. It says Mr. Clit, not Crit. You son of a bitch.
Is there really a problem with that?
Yeah, there is a problem with that.
Is there really
I'm not a fucking
that?
joke. Do I look like a fucking joke? I look like a fucking joke?
You look like a vagina. You look like a bleeding vagina right now.
You know what? I'm gonna sue you. You know what? I'm gonna sue you for everything.
All right, and we've also had survived combatants. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a while since you've been on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you both for coming by. So you guys go enjoy No Man's Sky, okay?